The Capitol headquarters, evening. Last week, Trinity, Blaze, and Erion made the dangerous trek across Vita Nova to reunite with Milo, Trinity's estranged sister. Meanwhile, Matthias and his ministers returned to their sacred lands to find their village stricken down by an unseen killer. Enraged, Matthias regrouped his ministers to seek revenge, leaving the village burning behind them. Prime Minister Kleo, having convinced Matthias to return to his village in exchange for finding his missing followers, now sits watching the sacred lands burn on a large monitor from the desk of her expansive, sparkling office. Her face a mask of impartial observance, she rises from her desk and taps a small black button on its corner. A small beep is heard, and a moment later the doors open and two guards march just inside the threshold and offer her a firm salute. Prime Minister Kleo nods.
Call Barrister and Rogers. Make sure they have seen Zone 43 footage at 21 hours. 10 soldiers should do. They shouldn't need any more.
The two guards salute once more before they turn on their heels to walk out. The Prime Minister follows the two at a distance, pausing in front of the doors as they glide shut before her. She bows her head, then walks back to her desk and waves her hand in front of the monitor. The image freezes. She holds out her hand as if to grasp an invisible dial and rotates it counterclockwise. The images on the monitor move backwards in quick, sharp flashes across the screen until she flattens her hand in the air once again, freezing the screen. The screen shows Erion and Trinity holding each other in a fast embrace.
Well, what have we here?
In the same evening, in Milo's hideout. Back at Milo's hideout, Blaze and Erion sit in a far corner of the large, cluttered room in a tense silence as Trinity and Milo argue in barely contained whispers. Blaze's suitcase lies open beside him as he fidgets with the shattered remains of his glasses. Erion holds her knees tight to her chest and stares at the tips of her shoes, though her eyes don't seem to focus.
This had not been part of the agreement, Trin, and you know it. You act like it was some kind of formal thing. What do you want me to leave my print on the scroll for you? It's not a formal thing. It's a decency thing, for the love of God. You said it yourself. That place is toxic. It is toxic. That's why I wanted you out of there. You with me. Two of us. Do you see how much simpler that is? I can take care of two of us. Now you waltz in here with these two lunatics. They are not. One, some bumbling idiot you claim is a scientist, but haven't actually talked to for more than 2 minutes. And the other one is the spawn of fucking Matthias.
I can hear you, you know.
I don't care.
Trinity stomps off towards Blaze and Erion while Milo moves to the window and paces. The blinds are drawn tightly shut, the night beyond pitch black.
Lovely hostess, really. Feel right at home.
We shouldn't have come here. This was a mistake. She's never gonna help us.
Help us? What do we need her help for?
I second that. Help with what? What did you do?
Nothing. We haven't done anything. Yet.
Good Lord.
Yet?
Milo, you remember when we were little, right after Mom died? You remember what you told me?
God's sake, Trin.
You said that you were going to get us out, not just out of that place, but out of Vita Nova. You pointed up at the sky where you said she was watching over us, and you promised that there was a world out there better than here.
You can't be serious, Trin. I was 7. What the hell did I know?
You knew what Mom had told you. You knew her like I never could. And you know, yes, okay, maybe it's crazy to think that we can escape to a world better than they created here. But what if we weren't meant to leave this world? What if we're actually meant to make it better?
Make it better? What could you...
Viridian mortem.
How do you know about that?
How do you know about that?
You hear a lot of talk on the shipyard. A mysterious illness, they say, creeps up around the villages and kills anyone just without warning. They say you can spot a victim by the green slime on their faces.
That's not what it is.
Oh yeah, nerd? Well, why don't you share with the rest of the class?
Gladly.
Blaze gets to his feet and pulls out a small black orb from his suitcase. He walks a few steps from the group and puts it on the ground. There is a soft humming and a stream of light flickers from the center as it comes to life. Trinity and Erion watch as a holographic image of Vita Nova appears before them, while Milo plops herself beside Blaze's suitcase, picking up and fiddling with the pieces of his glasses.
While it is true, iridium mortem has many elements commonly found in infectious diseases, it is not anything quite as predictable, but actually much more sinister. It's not a sickness, it's a toxin.
A toxin?
It is something in the air, a compound that, when exposed to large amounts over long periods of time, becomes lethal.
Blaze snaps his fingers and swipes his thumb, causing the holographic world to spin, zooming in rapidly on an image of Trinity and Erion's village.
What causes it? Where does it come from?
We aren't exactly sure, unfortunately. We know it isn't something that existed while we were on Earth, but something that either already lived in space before the launch of Vita Nova, or was created by its creation. What we do know is that it is spreading, and spreading rapidly. Here you can see is a map of your village from 2 months ago when I arrived. Now it's mostly clear, but we see these white waves across.
Blaze pinches his fingers and then fans them out, zooming further into the image and focusing on small but faint waves scattered across the foreground.
Maybe not strange looking here, but then just a week later, it's a different story.
Blaze drags his hand back and swipes his thumb once more, showing another image of the village. This time, the white waves form a much tighter patterned film across the village. Erion gasps.
From here, it only gets worse. By the end of this first month, you can hardly even make out the people standing by their tents.
You spent 2 months spying on these people? Creepy.
It's not creepy, it's science! The point of this being, this isn't something we can make a vaccine for and cure. We're breathing it. It's all around us. It's inevitable.
Cool. Well, I just feel a lot better now.
Erion, who had been sitting in silence, stands up and walks toward the floating image of her home. She mimics Blaze's gesture with her thumb, and the image flicks over to one of the thick white waves, creating a fine net across the tents behind. She lowers her hand and turns away.
What if it wasn't inevitable, though?
What do you mean?
This toxin, you said it hadn't been on Earth, so that means there are probably other places in the universe where it doesn't exist too.
I mean, well, probably, but
Or if it did, that there was a way to get rid of it.
hypothetically speaking, I mean...
Cut to the chase, Colt Kid. I've heard enough. What are you getting at?
Erion can lead us to a cure.
Wait, what?
I know she can. She's seen it.
Seen it? What the hell does that mean?
It was shown to me in a dream.
In a dream?
Jesus.
Are you kidding me?
It wasn't really a dream. It was more like a vision.
I don't believe it. You have to be legitimately insane.
You actually came all the way out here to find me because of some probably drug-induced dream from a princess nut job over here?
What's a nut job?
She is not a nut job. This is real. Listen, I've heard a lot of bullshit in my life. A lot of things that I was told that I knew deep in my gut that they couldn't be. This isn't one of those. Erion, show them the map.
The map?
Erion runs to her bag and pulls out a tattered pillowcase. She kneels on the floor and unfolds it, carefully making sure to smooth out the edges and creases. Milo and Blaze move in closer, Blaze squinting at the dark shapes scribbled onto the fabric. Irritated, Milo shoves Blaze's glasses into his hands. Bewildered, Blaze looks them over before gingerly placing them on his face.
Who drew this?
There's no way.
I drew it. It's what the voice showed me. It told me not to lose hope and that the answer we seek lies in Andromeda.
Blaze and Milo's eyes turn sharply to each other. Blaze appears, to Milo's disbelief, to be in total awe.
Where could she have possibly heard that from?
Don't you tell me you're buying this shit too.
I mean, look at this. This is clearly the outline of a star belt. She can't have known that. How would either of them possibly?
You all are nuts. Completely mental. You show up here with a piece of cloth you claim is a treasure map to a far-off galaxy that will lead us to a cure for some shit in the air that's going to slowly kill us all. Even if this could be at all possibly true, Andromeda? Andromeda is literally light years away from here. How could we possibly get out there?
You could take us.
What?
Everyone talked about how you left. For years, no one could ever figure out how you managed to get that relic to fly.
That's not anything like this, okay? That was an actual aircraft. Yeah, it needed some fixes. It took years to do just that. It's nothing like...
You managed what no one could dream of with a pile of junk. Look where we are now. There are hundreds of ships just outside
that have been in ruin for longer than we've both been alive. And take power that honestly I don't think exists anymore.
What do you mean?
The engines. Shit.
They don't run off normal fuel or even solar energy. They need something much, much more powerful.
They had stores of the cells when the mission began, but by the time the last of humanity was brought up, there was hardly anything left.
But there was some.
Blaze gives a weary shrug, allowing himself to collapse back onto the floor in newfound defeat.
Yeah, sure. There was some. But where do you think they'd keep it, Just lying around? They'll have it all locked up tight at the Capitol.
They might think so.
Trinity and Milo look at each other, puzzled, as Erion reaches back into her bag and pulls out a small, sturdy box. She holds the bottom close and cautiously pries off the top. Unable to contain her curiosity, Milo walks over and peers into the box. She gasps.
The voice told me we would need this. Said it was key to the whole mission.
What is it?
Milo reaches into the box and pulls out a golden necklace with a large gold pendant hanging from the bottom. In the center of the pendant glows a thick blue line that appears surrounded by glass. Blaze clambers to his feet, his mouth open wide.
This is a fusion core.
To be continued.